Now it's time to take a look at the fundamental trend pattern. And one could argue that this pattern right here is the most important pattern in technical analysis. And when it comes to this pattern has many different names. I call it the fundamental trend pattern right here, but other traders will call it different things. It can be called the price pulse right here, and Tony Plummer has written quite extensively about this. He calls it the price pulse. So if you want to read more about this pattern, you can look up Tony Plummer here, but some traders also call it the basic pattern, some traders call it the ABC pattern, and so on and so on. So unfortunately this pattern has many different names, but the name here is not really important. The important thing is that we learn about the pattern and also learn about why this pattern is so important and fundamental. So this pattern right here basically describes how markets move. In very simple terms, markets tend to move like this. We have, first of all, a strong move, either up or down. In this case, we have a move towards the upside, but the opposite is of course true for the downtrend. The bearish fundamental trend pattern looks something like this. But first of all, we have a strong move in one direction. After this move, we have a move in the other direction that is many times not as strong. This is basically like a period where the market cools down here a bit before the next strong move in the same direction as the first strong move. And these moves of course have names, and you might be familiar with these concepts. We call them impulsive moves and pullbacks. And the strong or sharp moves here are called the impulsive moves, or for short we can just call them an impulse. And the move here where the market cools down are the pullbacks. So we have impulse move, pullback, this right here is our next impulsive move, and so on and so on. And now you might of course wonder, why does markets move like this? Well, the explanation here is actually very complicated, because when it comes to markets, we have lots of market participants, we have buyers and sellers trading all the time. So it's actually very hard to explain this pattern, but in order to simplify as much as possible, I want you guys to think about this pattern from a perspective of just one trader. So let's say that you are a trader and you want to buy a lot of something. You have lots of money, you might be a bank or other financial institution. And now let's think, how would you execute a trade where you have to buy a lot? Well, one method you can use is to just buy everything at once. But if you simply buy everything at once and you have lots of money, this would usually lead to a very sharp price increase, which means that you will have to pay more than necessary for what you want to buy. If you want to buy something, it's pretty reasonable to assume that you want to get in at as cheap prices as possible. So another method to buy something rather than buying everything at once is to first buy a little bit, which will cause the price to move in one direction. However, after this initial buying spree, it can be a good idea to pause your buying for a while here and let the market absorb some of this upwards movement. For example, when a price moves a lot, like we saw right here, it's often the case that other traders in this market will take this as an opportunity to sell, and this will lead to selling pressure like we're seeing right here. So many times after a sharp move, the market will pull back a bit here and absorb a bit of this move. With that said, after the pullback, the price is once again lower and the trader can resume buying here and get in at slightly better prices. But of course, guys, as I said, this is a super simplified explanation. And it's definitely not the whole picture of why this pattern appears. But I hope that this explanation at least gave you guys a little bit of intuitive understanding, of the psychology behind this pattern. And of course, when we connect multiple of these patterns together, we will actually have a trend. This video was actually just a short clip from our full market structure trading course. To watch the full course, simply click or tap on the screen right here. I hope I will see you all in the full video very soon.